Good morning traders, welcome to today's London session market review where we're going to be looking at the ICT Silver Bullet setup, May 22nd, 2023 on the EURUSD pair. So being the London session, I prefer to trade EURUSD for this because there's much more movement in EURUSD this early in the day. Indices are better in the New York session in my opinion. Let's jump into the charts and see what we've got. I've pre-marked out the charts already. To save us a little time. Above us we have a daily fair value gap. This daily fair value gap is also lining up with a new week opening gap. Below us we have a 4-hour fair value gap here. We can see last week was obviously very bearish, and then we finished the week on Friday with a bullish day. So this in other trading terms would be classed as a first green day. Which would give me a bit of a bullish bias for today's price action. We can see what's happened in today's session is we have made an attempt at the previous day high. So we've taken previous day high out in Asia, but we've failed to displace above this. We've literally closed straight back into the range, which tells me that this sell side liquidity here is our first point of interest for the London session. We zoom in on today's London session price action so far. You can see we're respecting a 15-minute fair value gap at the moment. This is also coinciding with a 15-minute breaker block. So this is the last down close candle before the leg that took the high. So we are breaker block, fair value gap, and potential order block there as well. So there's lots of confluence here for why this would be breaking down. Looking for a short to take out this sell side. Let's jump into the 1 minute and start skipping forward to see what we get in the Silver Bullet hour. So we'll come forward now. So we are breaking structure to the downside. I'm not going to jump straight into a fair value gap here. I would want to see some kind of pullback. We've got to pull back into this range. My eyes are on this order block here, if that could get tagged. So if we get a rejection off here, we can potentially look for an entry. Closing into the fair value gap. We've not touched that order block yet. Okay, so we've respected the fair value gap and we're breaking away. Displacement to the downside with our view of hitting this. So this would be our first potential entry. This also coincides, which I've mentioned in previous videos, a balanced price range. So we've got a fair value gap on the upside just here, bigger fair value gap on the downside. So this little zone here is highly sensitive in my experience. Let's see if we can get tagged in. No, I'm just dropping. So we could pull this down because we've got a lower fair value gap now. On our take profit, apologies, let's get that right. We want a 5 pip stop, 5.2 pip take profit. That would be safe at the moment. We're covering this high. And we've not got tagged. New fair value gap down here. This is covering this potential order block now. It's getting riskier because we're getting closer to the bottom. What have we got? We've only got 7 pips now until we hit our target. Well, actually, we should measure the top of the fair value gap, 8.5 pips. So we're getting to the point where you really wouldn't want to be entering this far down now. We'd be better off waiting for liquidity to be taken. No entries that close. Okay. So we didn't get a setup on the bearish side. We've now taken the liquidity we had highlighted, so there's no opportunity to get in line with market to take the liquidity. Let's see if we get an ICT 2022 mentorship model set up. So what we're looking for is we're looking for a break of structure with displacement now going bullish. We've had displacement going up, however there's no break of structure here. We have put in a swing high here. not taken out the swing high. So we've got new swing high or equal highs here. Now relative equal highs, which is actually a very good sign. It means that there's probably a draw on liquidity here. Okay, so we've got a swing high down here as well now. Into a fair value gap. Nice rejection off the fair value gap. Still respecting the fair value gap low. Closed past the fair value gap. Back above the fair value gap now. Volume imbalance here. Right, so this is strong. So we've got displacement with a closure above this recent swing high. We have equal swing highs here telling me the price is probably getting drawn higher. We're closing back inside this range, which would really mean that the session high now, equal highs up here, are in play. First entry would be this fair value gap here. If we get tagged, 5 pip stop, 5.2 take profit, and we don't get tagged. Okay, so chasing price up again, 5 pip stop. Now this very bullish price action, the 5 pip stop doesn't really look like a sensible stop in this instance. However, I will stick with my rules. So the entry would be on this fair value gap. We're just covering this fair value gap into this kind of order block area with the stop loss. Let's see where we get tagged. Okay, we're taking that high. Another fair value gap. So we'll go to the next fair value gap up. The idea of this, again, it does feel like we're chasing price coming upwards, but the idea now is that our draw on liquidity is much higher up. So we just want to get in line with this bullish price action now to take out the higher liquidity levels. And we've got tagged. Okay. So we're in here, a little bit of drawdown into the bigger fair value gap. Nice reaction off the fair value gap. That's our 5 pips taken. So that was a nice trade. How many minutes was that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 minutes to taking the initial profit. Now, for those of you guys that are braver than me, you would be looking to hold potentially for the equal highs at the top of the London session. Let's see how this plays out over the next few minutes. So we literally tagged the 5 pips, came back to entry, back into drawdown. So this is exactly why I like to take after the 5 pips. I just like to get out, closing my trades within 10 minutes. I'd prefer to just get my 1-to-1, get out of the trade, and then I'm not worrying or stressing. I get very worked up when I'm in profit and then coming back into drawdown. Let's continue looking at this, however. So we're still respecting this fair value gap. It's all holding. Down, still respecting the fair value gap. Close to the stop loss, so I would have been a bit worried there. Okay, pulling back. Oh, it's not quite hit the stop loss yet. So that would have stopped you out. If you hadn't gone to break even or closed out after the 5 handles, then that would have stopped you out. Let's look at if you had put a realistic or a more sensible stop loss in, which would have been underneath this low. So you're covering all of the fair value gaps and the swing low. What would have happened? So you can see here how price has tapped this gap absolutely perfectly. Got a gap in price action here. Tapped the gap and is now accelerating away. Just shows that it likes to go back and fill any efficiency. And then look at that. Wow. So we would have been holding for a long time now. We've taken out this swing high. We've got a swing high here into a fair value gap, which we are just taking now. Oh, big push. Very close to taking out the session high. And oh, it's just teasing us. There we go. So that would have been the ultimate target was reached if you were brave enough to hold that long and brave enough to withhold this kind of drawdown. One thing that is worth noting, I've seen on ICT's Silver Bullet breakdowns, he was looking at the 5-minute charts. So on 5 minutes, price came down, put in a swing high, attempted the low again, massive bullish candle, leaving a fair value gap here. We've come down into the fair value gap straight at the close of the Silver Bullet hour. So it's wicked into the fair value gap. Based on that, you would definitely have had to have your stop loss below this low, and then rejected from there on the 5. So that is a nice setup on the 5 minute. So that is the ICT Silver Bullet setup from today. Hope you found this useful. If you've got any comments, please leave them down below. I'd love to receive your feedback. If you found this useful, please like and subscribe. And I'll be back later on today with an update on the US session Silver Bullet. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you next time.